Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are looking at the Wookiee collection I have here today, and oddly enough I have a kind of repeat. So we have the Mighty Chewbacca, we have Kiristan and Black Kiristan, which is actually the same character just from different series really. Um, so for anyone else that is not very familiar with Kiristan, bringing it up from Wikipedia here as we kind of get going here, we'll start getting Chewie unboxed here because I mean I think he's been held by the Empire for long enough. All right, so Kiristan or Black Kiristan, otherwise nickname is Santi, BK, or Black K by Dr. Aphra. So when we did our Dr. Aphra series, and she's got two droids, she's kind of done some work with Kiristan himself. So he is a bounty hunter whose career spanned from during the rule of the Galactic Empire into the era of the New Republic. As I'm trying to get the tape off here. Now, obviously, I didn't get into the book series that he was introduced in. So, in that regard, I don't know a lot about him myself. But looking at some of the pictures that we have on the Black Kiristan box here, apparently it looks like he's kind of had a little bit of a run-in with some Jedi. I don't know if that's supposed to be Luke or if that's one of the other Jedi that we have running around, especially in the post-Empire where Luke is building the new Jedi Order. So, getting Chewie here, and he is a fairly tall individual. Hopefully, I'm doing a good job here. I gotta get a place marker here. Alright. There we go. That way, I know you guys can see the feet. Now, his Wookiee bowcaster here. Okay, that goes underneath here. Hopefully I have this correct. Looks like it. And then that should kind of go back some, but we don't have it set up that way. You know, it's interesting because he's actually got two different, like 2 or 3 different scopes here. I don't know if he's got like a short range, medium range, long range kind of setup deal or whatever. But that's the way it looks. Looks like a kind of what we would consider a little bit more of a modern crossbow, except for having the bigger ends here and then going from there. So interesting how that really looks up close. All right. And of course, I'm dealing with or doing all this in the morning, and then suddenly now I got the stuffy. All right, so looking at all this, Chewie looks really good. I got to get a figure here. All right, so we got Anakin kind of handy. And I've said this before. I mean, it is nice to see how we have all the different figures being at that scale, so how tall everyone is. Um, it's just that kind of nice thing to see, and we see it in the, of course, the Black Series here, as well as the GI Joe Classified, and as well as in the Marvel Legends series. That we get to see how everyone's got all the different height variations here. Let's get through and see what kind of joints we have here, because this is something different. We haven't had a Wookiee yet, so it's kind of nice to be able to have 3 Wookiees here. Technically 2, but 3 different Wookiee figures. Now, as you can see, we do not have a huge range of motion here with his foot, because we got his fur sitting here, so that kind of limits that. And as far as his knee, he's only got a single knee here, so this is all kind of covered up, so we don't have that extra range of motion. But he is tall and lanky. Very nice to see. And unfortunately, we don't have Peter Mayhew anymore either. He's kind of passed on, unfortunately. And he's got his bandolier here with his satchel. remember seeing Peter Mayhew once when I was at a Gen Con convention, and it was kind of interesting to see him. He was using a cane at that time. That was quite a few years ago, before they did the sequel trilogy. So, there was a second version of this. I just could not bring myself to getting where it was Chewbacca, but he also had the collar on here and a little bit of the chain. I just couldn't get that figure of him. Having him in prison like that as a figure, I just couldn't do. I feel blessed because I've been able to use like some of this, having characters enslaved or whatever as a plot hook for my gaming group, because my gaming group is pretty sensible, and they see someone like that, they know that that's a plot hook. We have to save these people. So I feel blessed in that regard. I don't have to worry about someone trying to enslave anyone. But to actually have a figure that looks like it's been enslaved, that's just something I just can't bring myself to doing. All right, so looking at our Black Kirsten, the fact that we have a little bit of a footnote here, the ferocious and skilled Wookiee gladiator turned bounty hunter Black Kirsten has worked for the likes of Jabba the Hutt and Darth Vader. So, nice big figure, and of course he's got the same Wookiee bowcaster here. So let's get him opened up and see what else we have inside the box, because it's going to be kind of interesting to... we don't get a lot of... I know that they came out at one time, and I didn't pick it up because I wasn't collecting the 6-inch figure line at that point, but I was like dealing with sniffles here. They had Tofar, Chewie's father, as a figure, but I don't have him. And we'll get the bowcaster out here. Yeah, and the bowcaster is just a repeat mold of what Chewie's is, which is fine. I don't think we have to come up with 50 different, although it looks like this is done a little bit differently. It recesses a little bit more from the looks of it, so they did improve that just a little bit. Now I don't know if this should have the notch down or if that should be up, so I might be putting that together a little bit wrong, but either way it is almost identical. But this piece, this has got a smaller notch to hold that together. So almost identical, just a little bit of a variance here as we get them going. Now let's see how tall we are. We are at the same height, and it looks like we are using roughly the same foot mold. They changed a little bit because we have a little less movement here than what we did on Chewie, but outside of some minor changes here, I think we're pretty much the same. I didn't do this with Chewie, and this is all like a cover. It's like a lighter plastic rubbery cover over everything, so whatever the figure truly looks like underneath, looks like there is a torso twist here, but he's got all that armor on. And only a single shoulder. Same thing with Chewie. We only have the single shoulder. There's no twist up on the bicep. Single elbows. And then the hands. They are a little less flexible than what our standard characters are, which is kind of a shame in a way, because I mean, we could do a whole heck of a lot more, and the head's definitely not really moving. But he looks nice. I'm gonna say he looks nice. He's got some nice pouches on here, great belt and everything else. All right. Now let's just get the regular figure instead of the black figure, which I think might be more of a expanded one, but we will see what we got. All right, so being a typical no picture, we don't have all the plastic inside. There we are. So we got them out of there. Let's see what we have here. Okay. Going with the small bag first. Let's see what we got. This looks like a whole different rifle here. Yes, it is. Now it's got a similar sight setup, but he's got more of a heavier rifle. That is a big honking rifle. If it was in today's modern view or whatever, I'd say he's probably carrying a 50 caliber rifle on here, which might be something similar in a Star Wars sense. That he's carrying more like a heavy blaster rifle or something like that. When you're big and strong like a Wookiee, I think a 50 caliber style would be okay. Now he has a little bit more decoration on him, and it looks, he's a little shorter. Now he's a little shorter, so we have two different heights here. Same actual guy, but he's got a little height. He looks a little older. He's got a little bit more gray in here, so maybe he shrunk a little bit. Kind of putting it in that regard. His feet look, we have a little bit more motion, not a lot, but a little bit more motion here with the feet. You can kind of move it back and forth a little bit more. He's only got that single knee from the looks of it. So the paw pads here. Alright, and we still don't have that thigh movement. We just have the ball joint in there. And he can do some crunches, not the best because that's still doing the the extra padding there. But he can do a torso twist. So if you want him to kind of talk to someone, whoop, as I knock Anakin over. You know, and he's got that the same belt and all that, but it's actually, it looks a little bit better on this one than it does. That looks a little bit more generic there. Yeah, but this does look a lot nicer here. But like I said, he looks older. He's got a little bit of graying going on. Probably kind of calmed down a little bit. And looking in here, and the hardest thing is, and I hope you guys can see this, we have the extra kind of material here, and then I see the shoulder. So what I'm trying to figure out is, does he have the second shoulder or not? And in some regards, I'm almost going to say I think he does. Although with having the pauldron here, that really doesn't help him. Alright, and then there's his arm. We have a little bit better movement out of his arm. So he's a little bit shorter, a little bit more movement. A little, you know, they've got gray added in on the legs and on the arms, as well as on his face. A little bit on his braids in the back. Still impressive as size-wise, but yeah, he's getting a little bit shorter. Maybe he's ejected out of a fighter a couple too many times, and that kind of compressed his spine or something. I don't know. Oh, come on! Trying to get his hand in here. There we are. All right. And there we are. I mean, it's a simpler video. I mean, there's not a lot of extra big stuff to go over, like, you know, some of the figures with their backpacks and everything else. But it is kind of nice. I mean, three different, you know, I could consider them to, you know, along the same line, like a father and son or something, because he's older at this point than he was here. Obviously, this is him as a younger man. Now this is him as an older gentleman. Um, Book of Boba Fett. So this is him out of the Book of Boba Fett compared to him as a, say, him kind of in the um, Rise of the Empire. So, um, you know, you get a couple of years on you, and unfortunately, sometimes you shrink a little bit. And we saw that with even Peter Mayhew when he first started. I think they said he was what 6, like 7 foot 4 inches tall. And when he was doing the sequel trilogy, he had lost about 2 inches of height, so he was down to 7 foot 2. And then the new gentleman that had taken over, I think he was like 7'2", 7'3", somewhere in that neighborhood. You know, some fairly tall gentlemen, but very interesting to see. Very nice to see how the height differences are, even amongst the Wookiees. I mean, Chewie is a little bit taller, although you know when we look at it, Chewie and when they have it as Black Kirsten, they're almost the same build. But when we get him older, it looks like he's been bulking up a little bit more. I mean, he's kind of beefed up a little extra. I think he would give Chewie a little bit of a run for his money in the strength scale. Um, but it is what it is. And when we first get introduced with Chewie, with what Steven Spielberg and them had done, and that he's like 300 years old, so he's not a young man anymore either. So it's always fun. It's fun getting aliens in different body styles and everything else. The things that we're just not normally accustomed to seeing. Just because there's got to be great variety out in the universe. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you so very much for joining me today. It's always wonderful having you here. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next video.